All right, guys, we are deep in the Dallas-Fort Worth suburbs in a weird, huge warehouse district. This is our free play arcade deep storage. We're gonna walk through, you're gonna see stuff that will never, ever make it to the free play floor. You're gonna see stuff that's been stored for way too long, but we're gonna walk through it. I'm probably gonna find stuff I don't even remember, but we're here. It's about 2,000 square feet of space, and we're gonna hop into it. All right, so first thing you're gonna see is a lot of monitors. Any spare space, if you've learned anything about free play, we just throw monitors. So we've got 5, 6 monitors here, old tube TVs, a ton of extra monitors here. And honestly, none of these have been tested. We haven't done anything. It's just if we get an opportunity to buy a CRT monitor, we will buy it. Here's a random electronic dartboard. It came in as a lot purchase. You're gonna see a couple of them in here. If you see stuff that you don't even understand why free play bought it, we bought it because it just came to us as part of a huge lot purchase. So we're gonna walk through. We've got a Space Invaders Midway cocktail. This is the American cocktail, but it does have the little left-right instead of the button movement. It has the little toggle switch. Really, really, really cool. Lethal Enforcers, the original. I believe this was a launch game for Free Play Richardson, but this might not be the right one. We have a ton of stuff. And you'll see things like pallet jacks, ladders. This is a deep, deep storage. We got extra monitors here. We've got a very, very nice Spy Hunter right there. That used to be on the floor. We've got a side-by-side Virtual-On, and you'll see both the original Virtual-Ons that were on the Richardson floor before and the parts units that are in this storage unit. So what we learned about Virtual-On is ultimately these controls will not survive. Coin play maybe, but in a free play environment, there's just no chance of them making it through. And we'll walk over to the other side to get another thing. And again, guys, some of these games are gonna be difficult to see. It is buried in, it's raining, we're in the middle of the night, but we couldn't help but shoot this video. Another pallet jack, I'm sure it doesn't work. Simpsons control panel, a Primal Rage, and this was one of my greatest auction purchases ever. If you look at it, it's $125 for a working Primal Rage. It's a rough, it has some things, but working Primal Rage, $125, amazing. You got a Championship Sprint, got a Sega Outrun, and then if you look down, more and more CRTs. I honestly can't help myself. So we will at some point, or we might already be the biggest holder of CRTs. We're far over 300 or 400. Some are parts, some are working. These tubes aren't being made anymore, at least not in America, and we can't get them here. So we will buy every one we see. All right, so we're gonna kind of do a sidewalk here. We've got Centipede right here. We've got Joust right here. This is a Atari Star Wars, but as you can see, this is very, very rough. We did not put this duct tape on there, but someone has duct taped the top. When I'm talking deep storage, these are mostly parts units or units that just haven't worked out anywhere else. Although this looks like a very nice Asteroids. This is a 4-player WrestleFest that is rough. Atari Pole Position looks pretty good cabinet-wise. I'm sure it has its own issues. A Konami Super Basketball, and again, we're going through like a labyrinth and a maze here. Oh, so this is gonna be really cool. A Starhawk, and we're gonna have the camera walk around and look at the buttons on an original Starhawk. All right, so guys, this is like, most of these games are working. And they've been placed here either because they might not make it to the floor or they need a ton of work. And in all honesty, in the next 6 months, this storage will be gone. As we try to get these games out, we try to condense our collection into 1 or 2 major, huge storage facilities, 10,000 square feet or more. Because we're far beyond that in storage space, but it's not in a central location, and we started to kind of get lost a little bit. So right here, one of my all-time favorite shooters, probably one of the best 90s shooters, is Sega The Lost World. William Stargate's Defender 2 by another name. A Russian Attack, cool, awesome game. Atari Kangaroo. This was the famous one that got destroyed. So this is a fully working monitor, needs to be redone, but this one was the famous dropped Kangaroo. We have a number of Kangaroos, but sometimes things break their straps. I've always called this Ikari Warriors. Some people have called it Ikari Warriors. I don't know, but it's cool because it has those joysticks that spin. One of 8 games, I believe, that were released very similar. Sega Zaxxon, and we're back. We still have that Atari Centipede. We've got that Atari Star Wars over there. This Asteroids looks, honestly, amazing. I'm gonna probably try to fire this up tonight. It looks so good. Okay, so this is a Data East lock-on. Honestly, like, it's fully working, it's in great shape. And this was a really interesting story because I tried to negotiate with this guy forever. He had it listed for $1,000. I don't even know if it'll ever make the floor. He sent it to one of those auctions, and you've seen our auction videos. We ended up paying $400 for it. I think he was happy at the time, but the truth is we'd have paid a little bit more from that, but the auctioneers got paid. It's always good. We have right here a very rough Tron that has miscellaneous parts still left. It is probably too rough. The cabinet is very, very far gone. But it's a great, great parts unit purchase. We got, this looks like a Tekken 4 right here, another parts unit. And again, this is deep, deep storage, so you never know where you're gonna find a Deer Hunting USA. If I bought it, that means it has a great monitor. And then we've got, it looks like one of the Naomi step backs here. Oh, the big ones. I bet this is a Virtua Tennis. It is. So yeah, this was one of the big Naomis. We've actually been trying to, a lot of people have said these would make really great fighting caps. They've only got the 25-inch monitor, but they've got like a small pedestal. But yeah, so that's, and here, if you look, what's really cool here is this uses the actual Naomi replaceable adjustable control panels that they released. And the normal American cabs, besides the dedicated Naomis, didn't get that. And you'll see them in like Zombie Revenge. But this right here is really, really cool. This is a great game. I actually love Virtua Tennis. We'd probably never release Virtua Tennis. We'd probably turn it into a fighting game, but it's a really neat, unique cabinet. All right, guys, so obviously this is gonna be kind of like a patchwork video as we crawl in and out of things. This was an Invasion, the Abductors. I never really intended to put this game out. We sent it to Free Play Arlington as a potential filler game. Free Play Arlington is a huge arcade, and at the time we were trying to put 140 games in there and basically just trying to fill all the gaps. Eventually we played it enough to know this does not belong on any arcade floor ever, but it had a very nice monitor, nice control panel. We've taken the guns. And ultimately, it's a fine cabinet. I really love this because instead of the bikini, they made her a little more modest on the side art, someone long before we got this game. Next, we have a pole position 2. This actually showed up behind Free Play Richardson. Someone just left it. It doesn't work, but I mean, it looks pretty nice. It's in decent shape. These cabinets have been called a lot of things: big boys, fat boys. It's got a Raiden fighter jets. A lot of people love these cabinets, so we've been trying to get one out. This is one of the ones we're gonna try to get out. Probably the worst and roughest baby Pac-Man you'll ever see in your entire life. If you look at the side, you can tell it's terrible. But obviously, in a world where we have 3 or 4 pretty good baby Pac-Mans, this is a super valuable parts buy. If you look behind, you can see a Simpsons, a Konami Simpsons. You'll probably see the control panel earlier in this video. Awesome. This, I don't remember what it was converted to. We'll try to get the other side, but this is a Satan's Hollow cabinet in decent shape. I bought it just because, you know, Satan's Hollow is a great game. We have one out at Free Play Richardson right now. This is an amazing STV game, Die Hard the Arcade. I mean, it's not a great game, but it was really, really special in terms of like, just battling through really, really blocky characters that Sega was doing. Doesn't really follow the same story, but you get to shoot a lot of things, destroy a lot of people, and the cabinet was totally unique in a dedicated cabinet. Behind it is probably the worst game I think we've ever, we've bought a lot of games. This is Radical Bikers by Atari. We would never put it out as a Radical Bikers. That's not good enough for any arcade ever. But you might notice that this is a very similar cabinet to the Midways, like Mortal Kombat's and those similar. Uses the same monitor type, uses the same control panel. So we buy these when they pop up. Normally have great parts, but honestly, Radical Bikers, not a good game. Some random Turkey Hunting USA. Anything that you see these tags on, we received as part of a lot purchase, and those were our first notes. Hydro Thunder. If I know anything about this one's probably been pretty well stripped. Looks like it still has the tube, which is lucky. Hydro Thunder we have at Free Play Richardson, and we have a few others floating around. But ultimately, even if they're working pretty well, once you give them to the public, they're not gonna keep working, so we have to replace a ton of parts. We have to have a ton of units that we buy in relatively rough shape, really, really inexpensively, to kind of harvest and keep those ones that we can keep running. So next to it right here, we've got a, looks like a Neo Geo 2 slot working great. We really should work on getting that one out. And then I'm gonna actually, in a second, hop up on one of the games, sit on here. We're gonna bring the camera up and we're gonna try to get y'all some shots. Things here are really, really buried, but there's some special units, so we wanna try to get you some footage. All right guys, so I'm propped up on this Neo Geo 2 slot. It's probably like mildly advisable. It's humid here, it's raining. Who knows what the heck is going on to the wood. And that's one of the reasons we're trying to get out of this storage facility. It's one of our few that is not climate controlled, and it's our super, super deep storage for way back from when we were first starting. But we do have some great games that we want to point out. We got a Crystal Castles over there. Most of these games, even if they're great names, like Crystal Castles, one of my all-time favorite games, they're probably not working great, so that's why they ended up at this storage. We've got a Scramble, Stern Scramble, awesome. Just over it, hard to see, a Crazy Kong. We've had a few requests for Crazy Kong, you know, it's like the knockoff Donkey Kong, but hey, we'll probably just keep putting Donkey Kong out. Next to it, we have, well, there's a Super Sprint right behind it, but this is a Ring King, another game that's been requested a few times, and that one's an okay example, but it's really, really tough to take a spot at Free Play Richardson, which is such a stacked lineup, and dedicate a Ring King to a spot. Next to it, we have Space Firebird. I might be able to walk through here and we'll see. So right here, we have the Space Firebird that used to be out at Free Play Richardson. It just started having a ton of issues, and as we'd fix one thing, the next thing down the line would break. And if you look at this one, we've actually been working on it here. This is another reason we have to get out of this storage so that we have our techs having access to these games every day, because you never know when they're gonna have the bright idea and actually be able to fix something that's been broken. Here, this is super rare. So knockoff games have their own things, and this is a knockoff Frogger, but Bullfrog is one of the rarest games ever made. This is in surprisingly good shape for a Bullfrog. It still has the bezel, the original marquee. I don't know, we haven't figured out a good strategy for these knockoff games, but given the rarity, this might see a free play floor someday. And next to it is, I mean, you're gonna see some weird stuff here. This is a Bagman cabinet with a Samurai board, which Samurai was a pretty cool game. Pac-Man was a great game. But you'll see this is handmade Samurai side art. Someone just took strips of paper, colored it in, taped it over. And there's something cool about what the operators used to do. But that is a Samurai and a Bagman. Next to a complete Tempest, which is, you know, one of our all-time favorite games. We need to work on it. Next to an Atari System 1 is a game that we definitely got as a lot purchase. We would never purchase this by itself. You'll have to excuse the grunts while I move these games out of the way. But this is Arlington Horse Racing. It works great. It is just as terrible as it sounds. But we flirted a lot with putting it out at Free Play Arlington just because of the name. Space Duel Parts Cabinet, really another lot purchase that just popped up. Came in as part of Big Lot. Obviously, we love these cabs. It's great parts. Buttons are great parts. We got Atari Volcanoes here. It didn't come with a monitor, didn't come with a PCB, but we have enough of these cabinets like in rotation that it's super valuable to us. A Midway Gorf. Gorf's been kind of a hard game. We've have probably 6 of them in our collection, with one that we rotate between the arcades, because Gorf I think is an all-time great game, but it's not a very good game. So that's kind of a hard thing to balance. It's got early speech, early kind of multi-game qualities to it. Very, very cool bezel with a changing space rank and everything. But ultimately, Gorf is what Gorf is, and it keeps getting rotated because on any floor, it's one of the least played games. We've got kind of a nice UMK3 back there. This is a lot purchase. It's in a Dynamo cut corner. We would never release this game, but it's great for parts. Same with this Dynamo cut corner NBA Jam. It's set up to be a 2-player NBA Jam. Not really worth releasing, but as part of a lot purchase, a great thing to have come in. Electronic dartboard, something you'll never see at Free Play, no matter how many times you ask. Another Invasion of the Abductors, great parts cabinet, next to a Virtua parts cabinet. And if you look a little bit back there, it's a dedicated Centurion Phoenix. So, like I was saying before, there's a lot of gold here in between the, I mean, to be nice, kind of crap. I mean, Arlington Horse Racing is just a totally goofy game, but the fact that we've had it come into the collection, and I guarantee you what we're gonna end up doing is holding onto that PCB forever, just so that we know that we've always owned an Arlington Horse Racing. All right, so a game we totally walked by, All Points Bulletin, APB. Really, really cool. We have like 3 or 4 in the collection, medium res monitors. Honestly, guys, this is something we keep putting out in the arcade and not enough people play. I think it's an all-time great game. We're gonna keep putting it out, but next time it's out, man, give us some love so that we know that y'all want us to put it out. This one's in great shape. It was actually at Free Play Arlington. It was a duplicate game. We had more than one ready for Free Play Arlington, and as I know right now, Free Play Arlington has none, just because of lack of play. So next time we put an APB out, please play it. All right, guys, so when you're buying as many arcade games as we buy, you get a lot of really cool, goofy stuff. This is a crayon and colored pencil NBA Jam control panel. And we've been holding on to it because we just think it's so cool that someone took the time to hand draw an NBA Jam control panel. Again, not anything you'll ever see at Free Play, but that's why we have a YouTube channel. So then we have, it looks like 2 Phoenixes actually, side by side, 2 different variations of the Cocktail Phoenix, a Donkey Kong Jr., Atari Asteroids, and then over there's a Donkey Kong Jr. right next to that Atari Centipede. And right here, you might have heard me mention it before. This is the Team Play Cabaret Missile Command, Centipede, Millipede, and Let's Go Bowling. I think it's one of the best multicades ever built, totally licensed, in really cool shape. And the only complaint is that this trackball kind of sits a little high. But ultimately, if you're looking for a home arcade, this is a great one. Go find it. It's generally cheaper than some of the new stuff that they're selling and is a real arcade game. Something you'll never see at Free Play, but something that we've had in the collection for quite a while. All right, we have another Spy Hunter. Great game. This is the Maze of the Kings. The only reason I ever bought this was because I think the guns are the goofiest thing in the entire world. This will never make it to Free Play floor. I just wanted to own one of these guns, so I bought the whole game. But it is not great. Really, really silly game. This is actually a dedicated Namco cabinet. This has Soul Edge in it, but this is whenever you hear people fighting about whether or not Namco ever released a dedicated cabinet, this is what Tekken 3, Tekken Tag, and Soul Edge all came in as a dedicated Namco cabinet. And then later you'll see like the Tekken 5 at our Arlington location. That's what the dedicated cabinets look like later. And we've got a Trophy Hunting Baron Moose. Terrible, terrible game. The funniest thing about that game is that like they recorded the animal voices clearly with human voice actors. So you'll hear the guys actually going like, ooh, ooh, ooh. Really, really terrible, terrible game. A Frogger that we should just test because that looks pretty good. Another Stargate, William Stargate Defender 2. And another Atari Pole Position. Capcom Sports Club, really cool game. Another Space Duel here. Looks really nice. Confidential Mission. We've spoken about Confidential Mission before. One of my favorite Sega games, but one that just keeps getting harvested for stuff. If you look in here, it's missing guns, it's missing the monitor. That's what it takes to keep these things going. Another Tempest right here. Another Championship Sprint. Games that, Tempest is beautiful by itself, but both Championship Sprint and Tempest have become so valuable for their parts lately that even if it's a bad version of them, we'll buy it just to say that we own it. And then right next to it, I'm not really sure what this is. Oh, Mania Challenge. One of the wrestling games that has been requested that eventually we should get out. One of the goofy things you can tell about these games, it has dedicated Route 16 side art and then actually has the full kit for Mania Challenge. Something that no one in the world but Free Play Arcade would care about. I think it's really cool. And we have no good plan for them, but you know, that original art is so gorgeous, it's so awesome. All right, so this is just, as all of these papers indicate, part of a big lot purchase. The real key here though is we have a Golden Tee 4 complete, which I think is the best of the Golden Tee versions to have. So this is just before they made 4 complete. All of the parts are universal, ready to fit into it. We'll probably keep this forever just so that we have extra parts for that one Golden Tee that we really love. A Max Force. It looks rough, but you know, Max Force isn't actually that bad of a game. It's kind of like a little lower, a little below Area 51 is where people put it. But I think in a lot of ways it has like this charm, this weird like photorealism that just goes over the top and becomes goofy. Here is a dedicated track and field right next to it. Just a game that we need to get out, probably work on a little bit, but it's in great shape. And I'm squeezing through here to go ahead and finish these. All right, this was the Century Phoenix you guys saw earlier. This is just a redemption machine called Slide Master. It's like a card game. A lot purchase, has a real CRT. This is a real arcade-like cabinet, so something we can look at. Next to a China Gate. If you ever played China Gate, you know why we own it and why we will never put it out. It's a really kind of mildly racist game, but it's really goofy and just weird. All right, guys, so this is one of the last games, but something I want to point out. This is a World Rally, and it's a full conversion kit. So this game was not at all designed. This cabinet was not designed to be a driving game. But to be honest, we've messed around with a lot of the driving games in this warehouse. This is surviving better than most. The wheel's still turning nice and freely. The shifter is great, and the pedal at the very bottom works perfectly. So there's something to these just full kit conversions that you don't get in a dedicated game from 10 years before. Now, an Atari World Rally, never made to free play, but there's something to just be admired in the art of these conversions that we have here. So I think that's all of the games here. We'll do a quick outro and we'll go to the next storage. All right, guys, so this has been a sweaty, humid night here in the super deep free play storage. And before we go, we noticed a game that we just missed for this walkthrough, and you might see some that we missed while we were going through this, an elevator action conversion. We have a dedicated elevator action, but this is just another goofy conversion game that popped up. And of course, we're standing right next to a Time Crisis 2 gun. We've got our Golden Tee back here. But in the meantime, make sure you subscribe to our channel. Keep an eye on these videos. We're going through every warehouse that Free Play owns. Free Play has nearly or more than 1,000 games. You don't know, because every warehouse is changing before we can get to it. We buy more than a game a day, sometimes 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 or even 30, I mean, maybe 100 games a day. So you never know what's gonna happen in Free Play. You never know we're gonna find in our warehouses. This has been the deep storage walkthrough. We're gonna go get a towel, try to towel off. We're gonna try to go out into the rain, try to dry off. But in the meantime, make sure you keep watching these videos. This is something we love to do, and we love y'all being a part of it.